Doesn't start like a dirt bike. Hi, I'm Nate with Average Jack Archery Pro Shop and Range here in Phillipsburg, PA, and today we're looking at the Kingbull Discover e-bike. So I will bring you over here closer, show you what's going on under the hood, but basically this is the Kingbull Discover e-bike. Now this isn't the first e-bike that I've had. The first one I had I absolutely loved, and I wanted to try something a little bit different. First and foremost, just general overview about this bike and how I like riding it for hunting, fishing, scouting, whatever you want to do where you have to leave the tarmac and hit yourself here in the woods, in the timber, right? Or cut field edge, CRP, whatever you got to do. The Kingbull is a cadence sensor bike, so that means it goes off of your pedaling. It's not a torque sensor. It is a rear hub drive motor, which I really like for the outdoor situation. You can get mid drive, you can get all wheel, but the further you get that way, the more expensive it gets. This bike is around the $1,100 to $1,200 price range, depending on full MSRP, if Kingbull's got it on sale or whatnot. Does come with the bike rack, comes with a light, a tail light, which I actually really like. I'll talk about later. Full display, has a horn along with it. It's a very nice, well laid out bike. It is a step over design with the bar up top here, so it's not a step through. Now I'm 6'4", so that had a big play in this bike and why I particularly like it so much. 6'4" with a 34-inch inseam. I have no problems getting over top of this bike whatsoever. This seat post, and here's my stride length, this seat post, I have it on the number 3 setting. There's still another 2 whole inches. So Kingbull actually has this bike up to a 6'6" rating, which for me is a big deal. I like bikes, you know, as much as this bike is in terms of how big it is, it definitely fits me. I would say probably about 5'6", maybe 5'5" would be the comfortable range because of how high this front end sits up. I really like how high this sits because it allows me to basically stay upright then. I don't have to feel like I'm leaning into it too hard. It keeps me upright and allows me also to stand pretty easily. I don't feel like the handlebars are too far away for me. It allows me to, if you'll notice my backpack here in the background, this is the setup that I would be running. I one stick, I saddle hunt, so the saddle is already on, backpack on, and then I usually lash my bow to that. That's an Elite Energy 35. It's a big bow, but it still fits no problem. I usually though, because of this integrated rack here that's in, what's not integrated, it is a bolt-on, but it does come with the bike along with the plastic fenders, which does keep the mud. They're not super durable, but I haven't had anything break. This allows me to lash, if I want to, I can lash my saddle and my backpack right here. Or if you're a tree stand guy, it'd be even nicer to be able to lash your tree stand completely flat and then all your gear can go right on top. I haven't tested that out. I don't actually own any tree stands anymore, but I think it'd be a very nice feature. The reason why I like the exterior light that I brought in earlier in the past is that a lot of times you're coming out in the dark, right? Evening hunts, you're coming out in the dark. You can be going a pretty decent clip with the headlights, plenty bright for nighttime riding, not an issue there, but it is nice to have people see you outside of just your reflectors. So it's nice to have that tail light in the back there as well. This bike is rated for 400 pounds. That's one of the heaviest rated bikes that I've seen. It's only 77 pounds heavy, and I'm lifting it with one arm without too much struggle. That's 77 pounds and a 400-pound payload. It's actually really, really nice. Like I said, I'm 6'4", and I'm 220 out of the shower. So you throw in all the camera gear, my saddle hunting gear, my bow, and everything else that I'm wearing, I'm easily pushing 280 probably pounds by the time you get all that gear on me. At my most bulked out, 280 pounds. So a 300-pound weight rating, which is what most bikes are rated to, I feel is cutting it too close. You know, there's always that rule of thumb, you want to be 80% of the payload or whatever when it comes to vehicles and other things. So I figure bikes are the exact same way. And I have no problems with the giddy up and go on this bike, fully loaded out, riding either on cut trails where it's legal, but also in CRP edges, cut cornfield edges. And then of course, riding around on asphalt through my neighborhood or getting to, you know, more urban spots. This is a class 3 e-bike and you want to check your local state regulations of where you're hunting, that a class 3 e-bike is legal to take out into the woods. Some of them do, some of them don't. Here in Pennsylvania, where I reside, where my shop is at, you can't take e-bikes out onto public land, meaning the state game land owns that property. Private land, go for it, leases, go for it. And some of the state parks, it's totally legal to have an e-bike following the proper for signage. Having 26-inch tires is 2 inches bigger than your standard. Most tires are only 24 inches, so it gives you just a little bit more ground clearance, which helps when you have your feet one way. Try to train yourself to have them flat at all times, but most of the time we end up with one down. Gives you a little bit more clearance when going over uneven terrain. Now, do I have any major dislikes about the bike? Not really. It's a very streamlined feature. I've had bikes that have an external battery here. It's an open frame with an external battery, and then the internal one in here as well. You could upgrade to a suspension seat post if you want to get a little bit more give in the middle, because it only does have the one fork up front. Outside of that, I have no complaints. The charging's been super simple. The interface is very clean. It's ridden very well. The derailleurs worked. The shifting has worked. The brakes are great. I have no complaints from an overall standpoint of the bike. Just a few tweaks if you wanted to add it to suit your needs. Rear hub motor and hydraulic disc brakes. I have not had any issues with stopping. It's worked very nicely for me. As a side note, back in here, there is a Phillips head screw that you're going to want to keep eye on. This kickstand, it will function just fine, but it's actually slid out all the way to keep the bike as upright as possible. If that screw comes loose and falls out, this whole thing can slide up and down or completely fall off and you'll lose the bottom part of your kickstand. So do keep an eye on that screw, and particularly if you're driving around through the woods. As stated before, this is a cadence sensor bike, not a torque sensor bike, which means that inside here it has sensors that detects what the speed you're pedaling at. So if it doesn't detect speed, or if it doesn't detect any sort of stroke, it doesn't go. Of course, you can override that with a throttle up front, but unlike a torque sensor, this will only give the pedaling. It will not go off of how hard you have to push. It does have the fork up here at the front, which of course you can open and you can lock if you don't want any give in the front end of the bike. I always leave it open because I'm always riding over some uneven terrain. Headlight does have the ability to pivot, so you can accidentally not flash cars out in front of you. And I found that even though I can move it relatively easily, unless I hit some really jarring terrain, this thing stays put. No complaints there. In terms of your controls up front, everything is pretty straightforward. You have your power button, you have your plus and minus for pedal assist, you have your headlight, and you also have your horn if you choose to use it. Your interface is very clean, it's very simple. It shows your speed, shows your battery life, shows your odometer, all the things you would come to expect in a pretty standard e-bike. Your gear shifter up here is a Shimano. It's a 7-speed. You have your ability to go up in gear and you have your ability to go down in gear. It's very intuitive there. You have a half twist throttle compared to a thumb throttle, which is usually on the left handlebar. Half twist throttle here. It's nice if you're used to riding motorbikes that have a twist throttle. It's very intuitive. When the headlight is on, the taillight comes on automatically, and when you push the brake, it does get brighter. Not a very obvious test of how bright the headlight is, but I find if you can see it that bright in the daytime, it's very well lit at night. Let's take the old Kingbull Discover out for a spin. Come down here and test it on grade, throttle only. Fourth gear. This is a very comfortable stride, very comfortable everything. All right, so we're gonna put our pedal assist 5, slight rolling start. Give her max. This is about an 8% grade we're going up here. Again, I'm 220, close on maybe 230, 232. About an 8% grade. Freaking nothing. Absolutely nothing. No problems. You can definitely feel it starting to lose its torque up here by the time we get to the end. But I mean, I'm still going 17 miles an hour right now. Throttle only. Pedal says 5. That's something else. So that's all for the overview and review of the Kingbull Discover e-bike. If you're interested in this bike, check out the link in the description below. If you have any questions about my review or the riding experience or anything else, please do drop a comment here on YouTube. You can also reach us out via email, averagejackArchery@gmail.com. And of course, you can find us on social media, both Facebook and Instagram, at AverageJackArchery. And if you are in the bow hunting and target archery world, or just a backyard shooter, and you need a local home archery shop to call your home shop, please come down to us at 21 North Front Street in Phillipsburg, PA. We're happy to service all your archery, crossbow, and everything else hunting needs. Hope you're able to get outside, enjoy the sport of archery hunting if you so choose. Definitely enjoy God's beautiful creation. Ride your e-bike safely, and we'll get to see you next time.